KFSR at CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger, a public affairs program featuring stories from all over the Central Valley with Sevag Tateosian, 90.7 KFSR.
I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Welcome to the Central Valley Ledger. We're here on the beautiful Fresno State campus in Studio A of the Mass Communication and Journalism Department. We're here with Kim Leonard. She's the operations manager at Storyland, Playland. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's talk about the name. I'm used to Storyland, Playland. Your website, I think, is Storyland.
It is.
What's the proper name?
So it's actually Storyland and Playland.
Okay.
We do have two websites, and the Playland website is just getting up to speed right now. So if you're looking for anything, you would go to the Storyland website at this time.
And I went to that website. There's a lot of good information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about yourself. So
Okay.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a Fresno native. I've been here my whole life. I left for 2 years and came back because I missed it, and have been cheerleading Fresno's great qualities ever since.
See, and I met you
Yes.
a year ago or so in downtown somewhere. What were you doing in downtown?
I was the communications manager for Downtown Fresno Partnership, and so everything that came out of downtown Fresno, the blogs, the newsletters, the Do You Get Downtown TV show that we were doing, all of that was part of what I was doing.
And you being on camera is not new to you because you and our friend Craig Sharton, who has been on this program multiple times, you had your show before.
Yeah, so Do You Get Downtown was a really great program that we did through CMAC. That was just a fun way of showing off the businesses, the people, all of the things in downtown that are really taking off and we should be proud of.
How excited are you that things are happening in downtown?
Oh my gosh, just to get down there, and every time I go downtown, because now I'm not there every day, so every time there's something new, there's, something has happened, there's a new fence up with new signage saying construction happening, businesses open during construction, or to look at what's going on and the new businesses opening up off the Fulton Mall too. So you've got the House of Pendragon and Charburger and different things that are going to be opening. And so just it warms my little heart, my little downtown heart.
And it sounds like in the next 10 years, 15 years, if that, we're going to see a complete different downtown.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a complete change. Just once construction is done, things are going to be really moving, and there's so many projects that are happening all over the Fulton Mall and planned for South Stadium, and with Bitwise basically planning to take over the world. It's a pretty amazing time to be downtown.
And how did you get involved with Storyland and Playland? Because that's the reason why you're here talking to us.
Well, I think that in my role as community cheerleader and head rah-rah of all things Fresno, basically, being the girl that has been really vocal about, hey, Fresno is a great place. This is a place to spend your time, your money, and get your family to really appreciate it and make it better and all of that. So that eventually came back, and when this position opened up, I think that helped me to get it a little bit,
And somehow Scott Miller is involved in Storyland and Playland, and Scott Miller is very involved in Gazebo Gardens and some of the cool stuff happening out there. But what's his relationship?
So we have a stellar board. Our board is just made up of a bunch of rock stars, and so Scott is on the board, as well as Bruce Batty from JSA. You've got just this huge group of wonderful people who care really deeply about the parks.
When we're talking about Storyland and Playland, we're talking about the area near the zoo, correct? Mm-hmm. Can you describe where it is?
So when you drive in to Roding Park, Playland is directly across from the zoo. So you leave the zoo and your kids are upset because they are not ready to go home yet. And so you see that carousel going around and around and around in circles, and you say, bingo, that's where I want to take them. And so we're in that lovely spot right there. And we actually do have Scott Barton from the zoo is on our board too. So we work very closely with the zoo. So that's where we're positioned. And then if you just walk a little bit and go alongside the lovely lake, then you will end up at Storyland. So,
Which, when I came to Fresno in the early 90s, one of the first places we went is the park.
okay.
And I rode a little boat-looking thing on that lake.
Yes.
So tell us about if that still exists.
It does. As of last weekend, actually, we just got brand new boats in. They are amazing. They are swans, flamingos, dragons, rubber duckies. So you can go and take a flamingo out on the lake.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's been busy. People love it. That's one of the most nostalgic things about our park, that people remember. Oh, I went out on the paddle boats. It's so much fun. And so they have been bringing their kids and their grandkids out to have that experience and that nostalgia.
So the water, how does the water filling work? Is it rainwater or, I know I'm getting technical here, but.
That's the city. The city actually owns that lake and they take care of it. And so it's through city water. I'm not quite sure how it gets filled. Actually, but they do go out and they do the maintenance on it, and so we have a partnership with them to make sure that lake is in shape for us to do those kind of things.
Important for us is the lake is full and clean.
Yes, exactly.
So, and are these paddle boats or something? So look, if I take my kid out there.
Right, then you're going to go get a workout, basically, you can go out and play your Pokemon Go, and then you can go on the paddle boats and call it a day, because it's so much fun. You get in there, and if your kid is a little older, then they will maybe help you paddle the whole way, but usually it ends up being, you're the one doing the work, but it's so much fun. You get halfway through around the lake and you've gotten your workout, and it's great.
One of the things that people ask me all the time, safety. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yes.
I'm sure your board members are heard about it, because the park doesn't have the best reputation as far as safety.
Right.
Now, for the record, every time I go, I've never had a problem, and there's nobody that I see that's threatening at all.
And it's one of those things where it's a perception that we've been battling. It's had that stigma for several years, and I would just recommend, I personally haven't had any issues with safety, but always be on alert, just as you would be anywhere else in Fresno. Make sure you're paying attention to your surroundings, and if something doesn't feel right, get out of there quickly. But otherwise, it's been pretty safe. I walk around there all the time and have not really had any issues come up. So
when I went to the zoo recently, I noticed that Storyland and Playland had people wearing Comcast shirts, which, this is airing on Comcast.
Yes.
So I thought, wow, we got to have them on to talk about that. But were those volunteers? Who were those people?
It was a volunteer day. They were actually out and doing some pretty massive projects in our parks, painting and getting things ready. And I think they were even helping to build some of the, when you take the train, there's little wooden houses and stuff like that you see as you go along the train. And so I think they were helping with some of those things, and just, a really amazing project.
So as we're sitting here now, behind the cameras and in the studio, we have a complete volunteer crew.
Yes.
Which is amazing, because we
Right.
look great, we sound great, and people don't realize it's the people behind the
Powered
scenes
by
that
volunteers.
are all volunteers. How important are volunteers? Because if we didn't have volunteers, you and I wouldn't be sitting here
Sure,
right now.
the parks would not have been reopened. It was volunteer work that got the parks painted and up to code on things and everything. Getting them reopened, because they were closed for a few years. So there's a lot of things that you have to do in 2 years really to get a park back open. And so without our wonderful volunteers painting the murals and taking care of things, we would not be where we are today.
What other things are you looking for volunteers to do? Let's say that there's a group listening now and they say, you know what? We want to go help Storyland and Playland because we went there when we were younger. What type of things could they do?
Sure, we will be able to tailor an experience based on their size and what they're interested in doing and the age group they bring. So it could be anything from painting to planting to reading stories to kids, or things like that. We're willing to also figure out what kind of volunteer work your group would be interested in.
So you're always looking for volunteers to assist
Sure.
your organization.
Yeah, volunteers and people who are just willing to also donate funds and things like that, and people who maybe have an interest in performing arts and would like to bring their group out to perform in our theater at Storyland. So there's a lot of different opportunities for people to get involved.
The park was closed for a few years. Did you or had you heard people say, "Oh, that's the end of the park. It's done. It's over"?
There was talk of it being done and over, and it was that talk and that very real possibility of it being closed, being made into a parking lot, and losing that little bit of Fresno history that everybody in Fresno has grown up with. That really made people come forward and say, I want to pledge some money. I want to pledge some time. How can I get involved? How do I save this park?
So what happened? Walk us through the process. So park is closed, and then somehow somebody or a group must have gone up and said, "No, we can't do this," or "This can't happen."
Right. So the park was closed, and that's where our board came out of. So it's completely new management. We have a different style and a different approach, and we've kind of looked at where things may have faltered in the past and have been trying to build from that and make it a new experience and a better experience too.
When you open a park, like you said, it takes a lot of work because for 2 years it had been closed. But
Sure.
prior to that, I guarantee you there hadn't been top-notch maintenance, or maybe I'm wrong in that. But so you're tasked with opening the park.
Right.
What does that look like? What's that process?
It's getting a lot of people involved and trying to make sure that we all are on the same page, knowing what the California standards are for, just maintaining rides and having every single ride certified to be run and having all of the testing done and things like that, and making sure that the facility is something that we can use. And so the board has done a magnificent job of bringing individuals in that were able to meet all of those needs and get us up and running, and probably up and running way better than it has been in the past too.
I've heard people say, South of Shaw, don't worry about South of Shaw anymore. Everything is moving north. Let's build stuff in north. Why do you think, and this may be a tough question, why do you think people were so involved in wanting to make this park, which is off of Belmont somewhere,
Right.
and the 99, what it is? Because it looks good. I mean, when I passed by when I went to the zoo, it looked great.
Yeah, so I think the South of Shaw thing it's starting to lose a little traction too. People not wanting to go south of Shaw because downtown is really coming around, and the zoo with all of the Measure Z stuff and with the beautiful Africa exhibit and everything. It's just people are starting to say, oh, maybe there is something to the older part of town. And it's where all of our grandparents went. It's where, you know what I mean? It's the place that Fresno's history is. And so I think that even though all of the new and shiny is happening north of Shaw and really north of Herndon at this point,
Yeah, I agree, and pretty soon it's going to be even north of
I
that.
know. And so I think that there's this part of us as Fresnans that that our hearts still beat down on that side of town. That's where we came from. That's what we need to preserve and make sure it stays around.
So what age would you recommend kids be to go to Storyland and Playland? And the reason I ask you that question is I have a 2-year-old and I have a 8-month-old, although I'll probably get corrected by my wife.
Right.
I say 9 months, 8 months
Right.
interchangeably. But, I mean, so for me, taking my family to Storyland and Playland, is there value in that?
Absolutely, especially the 2-year-old will love it. This is Storyland is the place for toddlers, for elementary kids. It's really good, pretty much between 18 months and 9 years old. It's a haven for them. Everything they love in the world is there. Bright colors, things to do, slides to slide down. You put your key in the story box and you hear the story, and those stories come to life. And so it's really good for them. And you also have to, you read to 8 or 9 month old. And so it's the same idea. They get to hear those stories. They see the colors. They're stimulated. So even the babies can take something from that. Plus they can go on the train, which is awfully fun too.
Well, and walk us through what it looks like. So like I go with my family. I presume there's doors I enter.
Sure.
I pay, I get in, then what?
So you go in through our gates up to our ticket window, and you'll see we have a big dragon off to the side where our train station is. So already, you know, the fun is there, the fantasy is there. You're already in this, you know, this world that's outside of just regular Fresno. And you can get your Storyland key, which is the exact same key that it has always been. So whether you got your key in the 1960s or just yesterday, it will still work. And you walk through the entryway, which is kind of a little winding area. And you can go, and right off you see the caterpillar, and he tells you, you know, that you're walking into this world of stories. And you can go see the 3 pigs, and there's an amphitheater where we have story time. Our characters give story time on the weekends, and there are birthday parties being held there, and there's you can sometimes run into Little Red Riding Hood or someone like that. And it's just, you know, it's a fun place where imaginations can really just kind of run wild.
Someone told me when I told them that one of the guests is going to be Storyland Playland, someone told me that, you know, oh, they would love to wear the costume of one of the characters. So are you looking for volunteers to play the character parts?
If somebody's interested in being a character, they can definitely get in touch with me. We have a really great staff of characters, and we have some really fantastic volunteers who are characters, and without them, it's, you know, that's half of the fun. You get to go in and maybe you'll meet Little Bo Peep today, or maybe it'll be a pirate, you know.
Yeah.
And so they're really wonderful. And so if somebody's interested in that, absolutely have them get in touch with us. We have a volunteer button on our website. And so it would be great.
Is it like, if I go there, am I going to see like fresh paint and new things?
Yes.
And I mean, so tell us a little bit about.
Just last week, we had one of our maintenance guys just, you know, freshening up the faces on the gingerbread bridge, and they're always out and looking for places that maybe need a fresh coat of paint. And we're open to suggestions as well. If somebody sees something that they say, oh, maybe that would be great, or have you guys thought of this? We're open to that too, because we are, like I said, we're a brand new organization basically taking over a historic park. So
with all the changes that are going on at Storyland and Playland and all the upgrades, funding is important.
Absolutely.
We can't make it what it could be without funding. So
right.
When people say, oh, we're going to go to Storyland and Playland, there's a charge to get in.
Yes.
Why should we be excited to pay that? Why should we want to say, you know what, I want to go and I want to support them?
Right. Well, when you look at Playland especially, each ride takes so much electricity to run it. Every ride has to be staffed by at least one ride operator, and they have to be cleaned and maintained. And so the tickets that you buy to pay for those rides are making sure that the park stays open. And so that's a really good reason to want to go and buy some tickets and get in and have fun with it. And it's preserving that side of things where, you know, this roller coaster was the first roller coaster I went on, and now I'm taking my daughter, and it's her first roller coaster, and she's going, oh my gosh, you know, and the whole thing, you get to do that, and it's a family thing, and it's generational, and it's wonderful. Or if this is the first generation your family's been here, you can start that tradition. So.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I like the park so much, because, you know, when we were kids, we came in the early 90s, and we went there, and I remember specifically riding a little paddle boat on that lake. So now taking my kid on that lake is going to be an exciting thing for me.
Exactly.
The train.
The train.
We can't not talk about the train.
Oh,
Tell us about this train.
So the train is wonderful. We have, it runs all day long, all weekend long. Actually, Wednesday through Sunday it runs. Whenever Storyland is open, the train is running. And we have some wonderful volunteer train engineers, and we also have some of our staff drive the train, and it's fun. It's kind of a chance for whoever is driving the train gets to be the ham of the day. They get over the loudspeaker and they can say, and to your left you see a velociraptor, because you get to go by Dinosaur Island, and we have actually a bunch of dinosaurs out there, and then you can point out all the wildlife and get a little silly, and people really respond to that. So
how long is the train ride? It seems like it goes around.
It goes around. So it starts. There's a train station in Playland and one in Storyland, and you pick that up, and your ticket is round trip. So it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's great because you can get off. If you get on at Storyland, you can get off, do a couple rides at Playland, hop back on, and finish your day out that way on the train. So it's pretty fun.
If I'm budgeting, so I'm huge on budgeting.
Sure.
I'm huge on making sure I know where all my money is being spent. And there are a lot of people out there now with, the job market and stuff
Sure.
going on. How much should I budget for my family, or is that even tough to answer?
It depends on the size of your family and how much time you have.
That's a very good answer, by the way. Very good answer.
So we have, with Playland, we do have an all-day wristband. So if you're going to spend all day there, or at least go on more than 8 rides, then the wristband is a great value at $16 and gets you on every ride as many times as you want, excluding the train and the boats. If you want to do those, the train is $3 round trip per person, and boats are $5 to $7 depending on which boat you take. And it's so good to do the wristband though, because it really guarantees that you just have unlimited fun. If your kid is the kind of kid that just does not want to get off the carousel, then you don't have to tell them no. You can just keep them going and going and going and going and going. So it's pretty good. And Storyland is very affordable. We have a annual membership actually that is only $40 for your family of 4, and then $5 to add on from that.
So I got to stop you there. So family of 4, $40 allows anytime access?
Anytime access, and you also get a discount at Playland and in concessions.
That sounds like a very good deal there.
It is.
It sounds
it's probably one of the best deals in Fresno. If you are somebody who's trying to figure out what you are going to do with your kids for the rest of summer vacation, then that's,
let's go to Storyland.
Yeah, it pays for itself almost immediately in the first week if you go every day. So it's pretty great.
Tell us a little bit more about the people and the community support. So you opened, did you see an influx of people coming?
Yes, our opening weekends for both of the parks were just outrageous. I mean, lines, we had people, when we opened Playland, the line to get in was amazing. And it's tapered down a little bit, but we actually have had some pretty stellar weekends that have stacked up to opening as well, where we're like, oh my gosh, there's so many people, and doing happy dances and,
high fives.
Right, it's amazing. It's so fun to see people out supporting our parks and knowing that they love us as much as we love us.
Social media.
Yes.
How important is social media in this whole promoting of Playland?
If you see one of our posts and you share it, it helps us so much. I mean, it really boosts what we're able to do, because we don't have a huge budget for advertising. It's not like we can go out and just, plaster every single billboard with, come and enjoy Dinosaur Island. And so, so when people are sharing our information with their friends and sharing their experiences and tagging us in their adventures and checking in, then it's just amazing. It helps us out so much, and especially the reviews, the good and the bad. It helps us to be better and to know if we're hitting our mark. And luckily, we've been blessed with some really awesome reviews.
So I'm going to stop you there. Even if someone is going to criticize, you're willing to
absolutely
accept the constructive criticism.
If somebody feels that something could be better, I want to hear that. That's something that only helps us in the long run. So that's definitely that's important information.
We are running out of time this week on the program, but teachers may want to take classes there.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We do have a field trip program. They can contact us. They can either email info@savestoryland.com or give us a call, and we will be more than happy to set up a field trip time with them. We do several a week, and it is so much fun. We have a literacy program. We were able to bring Mother Goose out to read.
I saw that,
Yes.
and so I was like, Mother Goose comes out.
Yes, Mother Goose shows up, makes an appearance. I mean, she's a celebrity, and also we're very lucky that Mother Goose has time for us, and she does come out, and she will read to our children and really just give an amazing experience to school groups, and just give them that feeling that, oh yeah, books are cool. That's right, you know?
And, you know, this probably will be the last question because we're running out of time, but it sounds like it's not all play. I mean, when I was online and I was looking through your website, I thought, you know, the kids will have fun. But then I'm like, wait, there's storytelling, there's an educational aspect. Tell us about that.
We do have programs that we do. FCOE has actually been amazing, Fresno County Office of Education, and they have created coloring books and they've created activity books and things like that, so that we're able to bring all of that in with the experience as well, and get people excited about reading and literature and telling the story and loving the words, and that's really what Storyland is all about.
We are allowing guests to have a magic wand and make a wish. And so if you had a magic wand and you had one wish to make, what would that wish be?
About anything or about Storyland?
Storyland, Playland.
Okay, I'm about anything.
You're
Oh
like,
gosh.
oh, let's
well, actually,
see,
it probably would be the same. I would probably spend a whole day wandering around in a princess costume around Storyland and see it from that point of view. But I think more seriously, I would just want to be able to let the people know that have not heard that we've reopened. Magically, just have it oh, Storyland and Playland are open, you know, and let them magically know that and come down to see us and check us out now that we've reopened, because we've done a lot of work and it's looking great.
Again, your contact information.
Oh gosh, I have it. It is, I don't ever call our number. You can email me, kim@savestoryland.com. Our website is savestoryland.com.
And your number is?
Storylandfresno.com.
And your number is 559-486-2124.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's all for this edition of the Central Valley Ledger. Our guest this week is was Kim Leonard, the operations manager of Storyland and Playland, talking about the renovations to the beautiful park out there. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this production and every production possible. They're students from the Mass Communication and Journalism Department at Fresno State. Their names will appear at the end in the credits. Thank you also to our audience members listening to this broadcast on KFSR 90.7 FM, and to those watching on CMAC, Comcast 93, and AT&T 99. We were filming today on the beautiful campus of California State University, Fresno, in Studio A of the Mass Communication and Journalism Department. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Tune in next week to a new edition.
KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger every Sunday morning at 11:30. For a complete program schedule, visit kfsr.org.